Hi guys, today we're going to make the fox from the Gruffalo. I'm using the lapped modelling paste for this one. I don't know if I've said that right. I'll put links in the description box below to where you can get it from. Thought I'd give it a try. So I've dyed it a paprika orangey kind of colour, and I'm kind of rolling a cone shape and curving it round, and then we're just going to put a little bit of a dint where the eyes are going to go, and then I'm using my balling tool to create some little eye sockets. So I'm going to try and keep this shape fairly simple, and I want some white that hasn't been dyed. Again, I've just rolled another cone shape, but I'm just flattening it down. I'm using my fingers, but you can use a rolling pin to flatten it down if you prefer. And I'm going to stick that underneath sort of the nose area, going down the front where the chest would be to the bottom. Give it a good push on. You should find with this modelling paste that you don't need to stick anything between it for it to stick. It should just sort of stick to itself. And I'll just trim that off at the bottom and push that under. And I'm just using a modelling tool to just put in some little creases around his middle. And then we're going to draw the mouth in just underneath the nose. So can you see it's quite far underneath there? You want 2 balls of the white, flatten them a little bit, and just push them into the eye sockets that you've made. And then some tiny, tiny bits of orange, just into a bit of a sausage shape. And one's going to go on the top of the eye, and the other's going to go on the bottom. So if you want his eye more open than this, you don't have to put them on quite as big. And then we've just got a tiny dot of black. We're just going to pop that in the white bit of the eye. And now for the legs. Start with a bit of a sausage shape, and we're just going to push a little end bit on for the foot. Make sure it's thin enough, and then we'll trim off the bottom end, and we're going to push that against the body, so keeping it near the bottom. Try and rub in the seam if you can, and then I'm just going to add some fur using the pointy end of my modelling tool. And again, just use that to push in some toes, so 2 little lines for the foot, and the same on the other side. So do the front feet in the same way that you've done the back feet. So roll around the ankle to make sure you've got a defined foot. Push in the toes, again just with little lines with your modelling tool. Then trim off the top of your leg. So we'll have to check it for size as well, this, before we stick it on. And I'm just looking, he's just looking quite big at the back, so I'm just trimming that off and smoothing that back out. And then I'm actually going to stick his arm in place. So I'm going to bring that down to right in the middle of the front of him, that arm. And again, you can put some more fur detail on there. So just lots of little straight lines. And put the other arm on in the same way. Or I guess it's a leg, isn't it? Not an arm. Put the other leg on in the same way. And then we're just going to texture all over the body with fur. Now this modelling paste is quite soft when it's been warmed up with your hands, but it will start to harden a little bit quite quickly. So don't worry if it looks like it's sagging at first. It will harden. So we've got a black almost teardrop shape that's going to go on the very end of the nose. And then if you want, you can add a really, really thin piece of black around the edges of his eye. So top and bottom of the eye. And you can do that on both eyes. And now for the ears, I'm going to pinch 2 almost leaf-like shapes in orange. And then I'm just going to do the same but in white, keeping it slightly smaller. Just give it a good push down in the centre of these ears. Again, just a tiny bit of black, and we're just going to put that at the very top of each ear, so just a small bit. Repeat on the other one. Going to trim the bottom off, and I'm just sort of giving it a bit more shape by pushing the rounded end of my modelling tool in there. So these can now be stuck on, so the flat end that we've just trimmed can be pushed against the top of the head, and then just play around with the positioning that you want them to go in. And taking a bit more of your orange, we're going to make a big tail. So you can have it stuck straight out to the back, or you might want to bend it round, see where looks best. And then we want to put a little bit of white on the tail. So I've just rolled a thin strip that I'm wrapping around the end. And again, a little bit of black, keeping that more to the far end of the tail. And then I'm just using my modelling tool to put in some little fur marks again. And when I'm doing this, I'm kind of dragging the black into the white a little bit. So I've covered it in fur, and then I'm using a little bit of black edible food dust just to blend that black gradually into the white. And then we're also going to add some to the fox himself. So I'm concentrating with a little bit on the bottom and any areas that would be shaded. Okay, so we've just put that on quite lightly. And then for the feet, we're going to go a little bit heavier handed with it. So put it on a little bit thicker. And I'm just using a dry brush. So we'll just catch the feet and slightly up the ankles. And then we can stick the tail on. Again, just work on giving him a little bit more shading if you think it needs it. Okay, so that's him done. It's not too tricky to make, this one. here he is on the cake. I hope you've enjoyed the video. Thank you for watching.
If you liked this video and would like to see more, please click on the images of the other videos suggested. Also, please do subscribe to my channel using the button at the bottom right hand corner of the screen. You can also visit my cake website and my Facebook page to see more cakes and ideas.